Welcome to The Play. It's Monday, May 13th. I'm Dave Morris alongside Nick Tragakis. Nick, thanks for your time today.
Yeah.
The Play is a look ahead at some of the headlines and stories you can find in the upcoming editions of The Oklahoman. And one of the top stories last week continues to be something we're following this week. Nolan Clay is following the Rebecca Bryan murder trial.
Yeah, Nolan was out at Canadian County Court today. Testimony continued. The prosecution is still putting on their case against Rebecca Bryan. Reports from Nolan out of the courthouse are that we're seeing more of this, I guess what you would call racy testimony that we've seen so far in the trial. A lot of it is the prosecution trying to point to Rebecca Bryan's behavior and describing it as maybe being a little bit off-putting after her husband was just killed. Nolan will have a full report on that in the paper and, of course, on News OK tomorrow.
You know, another story we're following, the Oklahoman's Michael McNutt's reporting on this, is the governor today signed a bill. It authorizes the 0.25% cut in the top rate of the state's personal income tax. It goes into effect in 2015. Now, does this bill impact future cuts, maybe some capital repairs?
Yeah, there's kind of a couple different elements to this bill. Like you said, the first thing is the 0.25% cut that would go into effect January 1, 2015. If certain economic thresholds are met, and the budget shapes up a certain way, there would be another cut in 2016 that would take it down to 4.85%. We've reported in the paper that the average taxpayer would see about an $88 a year bounce back into their paychecks. If it's a high-earning person, they may see more than that. Another part of the bill that was packaged in there was dealing with repairs for the Capitol, and some money was set aside for that in the bill as well.
All right, very good. And there's some footage of some of those capital improvements. Another story that you'll find in tomorrow's editions is by Chris Castile. Senator Tom Coburn tried unsuccessfully to amend a water projects bill with a proposal to allow firearms on land controlled by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And Coburn's critics say the proposal was similar to a measure passed a few years ago, and it had an adverse effect on crime levels. What can you tell us about this story?
Well, as Coburn was pushing for his new legislation to have in states where there are concealed carry laws to let people carry their guns on the core properties, he cited statistics or at least evidence that he thought he had pointing to a drop in crime on national parks when people were allowed to carry guns there. At the time, he didn't have the hardcore statistics and figures with him. Well, the National Park Service put those numbers together. And what they found was it actually was the opposite of what Coburn was claiming, that some violent crimes had in fact gone up after guns were allowed at national parks. The measure didn't make it through anyways, but the Park Service was quick to point out that maybe they're not the biggest fans of having more guns on the,
right.
on the park property there. The numbers have since kind of leveled off to more of a regular rate as they were before, but in that first year, there was an interesting spike at least.
Reporting on that story by Chris Castile. And that'll do it for this edition of The Play. Nick, thanks for your time.
Yeah.
And again, these three stories can be found in the Oklahoman and online at newsok.com. Have a great evening, everyone.